No problem. So, oh, nice. It's like it's a stopover on the way to Roseville. Of course, everyone stops at Los Angeles to go to Roseville. Okay, password. Hmm. Should I start trying 123, 124, 321? Yeah, I'm starting to get quite jealous of people going to Worlds. I've been to the last three, and then this year just didn't quite work out for me. But it'd be a lot of fun to watch all the streams and stuff. Ah, great, great. Yeah. Uh, okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Ben. Hi. Yeah. Um, yeah, I listen to you guys' podcasts all the time. Also, definitely really enjoy them. It's great. Huh. I don't know if he replied in the actual chat, but hasn't sent me anything yet. I don't know if he's having trouble DMing me, or that seems strange. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gave it to us too. Oh, Bond. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, my bad. It was there, a couple lines up, I think. Or not? What is bonsai? I said bonsai. Unless the smiley face is part of it. Okay. Great. Okay. It's bonsai actually. Just okay. Great. Okay. So looks like we got everyone here. Sorry for a little delay to the spectators. Looks like we're going to have a really great match here and a really great cast. I have two very distinguished co-casters. Simkov and Toridori will be joining us soon, if not already there. They're gone international. They're using the web to its fullest. They're actually on their way to Worlds, so that's great. Um, okay, so kicking off, and actually, guys, sorry, I tend to get really excited when I'm casting and talk a lot, so just jump in and speak over me. I'll try to do that a little less.
And I think if you look at those deck lists there, they're both quite aggressive. You've got so I think we're going to see like a lot of early conflicts and a lot of action. So I don't think this is going to be one of those bank 20 fate and 20 cards and do not.
Yeah, and we start off. We see Ethereal Dreamer, a very strong, card they got last cycle, put out for Demagogue, and then Shinjo Scout as first player. So that's always nice to have. You can pass and gain the extra fate
Yeah,
from the Unicorn player.
I think the way that these unicorn decks tend to go is on the first turn you try and play one character and then maybe a few conflict from your hand, but you're trying to kind of conserve a little bit of fate. So turn two, you can get like a Tetsuku with three fate and just start Voltroning up that large unit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, but he goes ahead and plays it first. Just is he listening? Is he spiting you? Um, I agree with you in general. Yeah, I think I see a lot of clans do that nowadays, and it kind of isn't. I've heard a bunch of like talk about this. That it's kind of there's no. It is. I wouldn't say an optimal strategy, but it's a pretty standard strategy. That sort of thing. Just because no fade on rings, provinces are
Yeah,
good. It's attacking first turn just is not as appealing it was in back in single core days sort of thing.
I think by bringing out Tetsuko, I think Pudduk's indicating that he's gonna go for it this turn. Like there's gonna be multiple, could be two military conflicts and a political this turn.
Yeah, maybe
Like
drop a wayfinder to get that extra conflict, or uh, let's see. While we have a little break on thinking, I can throw up the deck list for people here.
Mr.
Phoenix.
Crabberry. Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
sorry.
oh, sorry, I just had the Phoenix one up by
Yep,
uh,
that's cool.
fairly standard. Two tattoo wanderer, three let go as a splash. She does have the two spicy kimonos in there. Consumed by 5 fires. If we get any towers going, a Shahai tower or something like that. Although Shahai is she'll get the against the waves treatment if it tries to put too much on Shikai, I would think. And then we have the Crab Splash, very nice. Something
Yeah.
different here, and no keepers, as the title brazenly suggests for a keeper clan. As a crab player, this hurts a lot, but he's going with 3 reprieves, 3 Huruma skirmishers, 2 rebuild, which is pretty strong with the encampment, one of their best cards. Okay, back to the action. See a Cloud the Mind? Looks like he only wants to spend 1 on Tetsuko, not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there is let goes, right? So,
Oh,
oh no, this is sorry. The
no, he's
Unicorn
got Crab
Splash.
Splash, yeah. So that's a stuck. But I guess with only 1 fate, maybe you saw that coming, or you didn't really fade up the Tetsuko too much. He has reprieves, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe hedging the bets there.
Mm-hmm.
And what ring has Ethereal Dream chosen? What a Void Ring. So
The Void Ring, yeah. Sorry, I'll scroll
the
back on
Demon's
that.
okay.
Yep. Which makes sense with a 1 faded character. That's always kind of the danger, right? If you 1 faded character, you just kind of, begging for that Void Ring to be put on you.
It was
But
very unusual. It was charged regulars, the Miami regulars.
that's pretty strong on an undefended conflict. I think this is going to go through at 8 strength and crushes the fertile fields. Although Crane, it's important. It's a province you don't want to lose, but he's gained a fate and a card first turn, so certainly nothing wrong with that.
It was very odd to see a no faded Shinjo scout and then not passing. The pass
Yeah,
was there, but
that would have
Tetsuku
surprised
can-
me as well. On the other side, I'd be tempted to just pass with no characters and go for the conflict character in that case. But
I think that Tetsuku, if you do manage to dodge the cloud, Phoenix rely very heavily on their sort of conflict side, in early turns.
Yep.
And I think that could really, really punish Dema's economy.
Yeah, and if your box says replay a spell and pay 1, it might be balanced then. So
we do have, returning from the showers, we do have Toradori here.
Just from beyond the wall, yeah. How's it going?
It's going great so far. We've already had a break. This is a fast and furious game developing.
When I'm playing Unicorn HMT, a turn 1 charge on the Miami regulars is such a strong turn 1 play.
With the speedboat, they're coming in hard and fast.
Yeah.
This is looking dangerous though. Demagogue's managed to bank a significant amount of fate. And while he's down 1 province, this Void Ring is going to be hard to defend for the Unicorn.
Yeah, the board plus fate will be swung. You missed, we were just discussing the play. There was a Shinjo Scout bot and not passed first. So that was strange.
Really curious. It's almost like a fake out, right? You just want the body and then you need the second guy.
I think he needed it for the... Oh, he didn't activate his Stronghold. Wait a second. Why is the Stronghold not activated?
It is.
Oh, it just didn't bow.
For some reason, visually, it didn't
Oh,
bow.
okay. Yeah, I thought that was strange. I thought for sure he would because the character's gone.
Okay, right.
It says, Pudduk uses Hisumura authority. Yeah. That's weird.
It's very odd.
But anyway, it's being used. Okay. It's kind of interesting to use Clarity of Purpose, which is a strong card on a small chud, but I guess because you've got...
He's probably got 2 in hand, right?
2 in hand, and you've got box, so you're kind of a wealth of riches with the Phoenix clan, so you kind of like fit for purpose.
Okay, so we get to see, the caster's, after policy debate, the caster's best friend upholding authority. He's going to show us the hand here so we can peek in to the secret worlds.
Interesting that he's included Asawa Mezawa or Asako Mezawa. the courtier.
The new one, yeah. The new guy.
Yeah, I think he's quite strong. He's got like just good stats and a nice ability.
I think so too. I think he's a nice addition from the Scorpion pack for Phoenix. I mean, Scorpion owes Phoenix quite a bit after the many months of being. So give him a good card, why don't you?
That's true. I think also that given that we're in the world of guest of honors and Tadakas, and sometimes and there's a lot of event control out there, having a dynasty side non-event pump
Yeah,
is actually really important. So I think that character fills a great role. It can turn can turn a conflict that looks completely unwinnable into something that you can salvage.
Right. Yep. I agree.
well, he's taking his time here. There must be a real decision.
I'm guessing it's one of those things where it's 2 mediocre cards or 1 good card. That's what I have the hardest time with. Go for value or go for the card I really want.
How do you normally swing on those? Do you normally go for quantity or quality?
I'm always a sucker for quantity. I take the ring with the most fade, etc., etc. It's definitely not the best decision usually, but
putting a Feral Nino in the bin is quite strong.
Oh yeah, that you can okay. So you can only ever play 2 at a time out of nowhere on you. So, but we also have Assassination, Bonsai, Court Games, Display of Power. The Feral Nino went. Let Go, Ornate Fan, Supernatural Storm. So lots of singles, but lots of good cards. I mean,
that's a very strong hand
to
have turn. I think.
Yeah, I think that the fact that he didn't get rid of one of the pumps, like the Storm or the Bonsai, means he's. I think that Pudduk must have either one of 2 things: heaps and heaps and heaps of like push in hand, like boost in hand, or just like hand of nothing where it doesn't matter.
So we see our Clouded Tetsuko fire back, hits Meditations to the Tau, which makes that Void Ring seem much less hurtful than it was.
Yeah, Pudduk's managed to get the best of the provinces, like hitting the Fertile Fields and Meditation, the 2 softest provinces that Demo has, and then poor Demo hit the Upholding, which is like the worst to hit first turn.
Oh, I missed the Shrine Maiden for the viewers. It was Finger of Jade, went into the bin, Clarity, Purpose, and Display of Power. So a good, solid Shrine Maiden there.
What do you think about getting rid of the Nino instead of the display? It's kind of a curious choice.
I mean, personally, I would get rid of the Nino because it's free. They go for water all the time, even if it's Seeker of Air. I don't know. The Display of Power is a very strong card, but it's too fate. Like this early in the game might be valuable. Like I'm less worried about it personally, but
and just the knowledge that he has it in hand is valuable too, right?
Yeah,
you can kind of select your rings with that knowledge.
It's kind of like the other power of Upholding Third. Like he knows he has an assassination, so either has to have a reprieve before he loads up his Borderlands Defender. Not Borderlands Defender, sorry. Yeah. Or any of it, because Unicorn has a number of fairly good, the infantry, etc. Characters that can be assassinated. So
I find this quite interesting. Like Pudduk knows that there's a Bonsai in Demo's hand, so playing as Fine Katana, I think like he's trying to essentially get Demo to spend as many cards from his hand as possible. I don't necessarily know if Pudduk's got the goods to take this second province, given the Bonsai and 2 Storms. Well, the Storms are pretty low value at the moment, aren't they? Like 1/4 Storms.
So he's cleverly holding the Bonsai in case he wants to go for a break on his military conflict himself. So this is smart.
It is smart. It's kind of like this is that counterplay. Like I'm playing a card, but I'm going to play it the minimal card I can, the least valuable card I can that will force my opponent to play another card.
So he is going to force out the Bonsai. Bonsai.
This is looking to be a straight up race, which I guess is somewhat predictable, but even with any clan matchup, sometimes they can really weigh down into defensive battles so far.
Yeah, I agree. But Demo still has 4 fate up his sleeve. He's got a 3 fate advantage.
Yep.
And that really plays through to a very strong turn 2 if he manages to keep that fate in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Depends on what flops. You could get, Tadaka with some gross amounts of fate for the rest of the game, etc.
Well,
and the Imperial Palace is going to play a role. Having that secure favor is super, super nice in a close race-like game.
Yeah, and Tadaka is super strong next turn, given the Bonsai in charge.
In charge, yeah. I mean, you can still bank up for cavalry reserves, but let's see. Any censures? No censures in either list. So
interesting.
So I think that Pudduk must not have a reprieve, because I think if he had a reprieve to put on those Miami regulars, he would have gotten it.
I think they're no attachments.
Are they no
These guys are no
attachments?
attachments,
Yeah, the only weapons. Yeah.
They can't be reprieved anyway. Oh, but Tetsuku could be reprieved, but
Yeah, I think he would
maybe-
definitely put on Tetsuko. But I mean, the Earthring's claimed already, so I don't know if it's. And he's still got the fate, right? Couldn't he slip it on at the end of the round?
Yeah.
Crab always think they're sneaky that way. At the very last minute, we slip it on. Like people don't know we have it.
Yeah. It's more so that we know. Yeah, we know that Dema's got to let go.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a strong play. So he's forced out
Ooh.
2 big pump events, and now he's going to break.
Wow.
Wow, nice. That's some classic. That's some classic pushing of your
That
luck.
was
I think
water.
see what you can get out of it.
So strong.
Yeah.
Very, very good conflict for the unicorn. One interesting thing there is just the difference in play when you know your opponent's hand and your opponent doesn't know yours. You can hold back that assassinate like that. It's just super strong.
Excellent. I forgot to ask. Chat, you guys, let us know if the volume's good. If you can hear all 3 of us, there is 3 of us. That type of thing. So
So it looks like there's a manicured and a upholding left in Demo's row for the 3rd conflict. So I think if the upholding's on the non-imperial palace, we could see 3 provinces taken in 1 turn. Duh.
wow. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting defense.
This is sorry, let's scroll down here. That's a military conflict on feast or famine.
Yeah, I would almost certainly let that one through.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 1 strength, and he's on air. Yeah, this early. I mean, there was an assassination. You'd fall to 4, which is not great, but yeah, it seems like your opportunity to attack. Although you're 1 province up, I suppose maybe you're not in a hurry, but you are 3 fate down. So quicker the better, right?
Yeah.
You know, given that he had a 1 fate Tetsuko that was clouded and just a weenie who had a blank text box effectively, he's actually done fairly well out of this turn, given it hand and start.
Excellently, like.
It's been a pretty brutal game. Like 3 provinces down on turn 1.
This is what you want to see in Legend of Five Rings, I think. Fast and furious.
Should be best of 3 in an hour. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Just checking. Yeah, he's running 3 yurts. So the air ring seems to be really of not much consequence to him. He has 2 captive audiences and an Unleash the Djinn left. So I think the yurts will take care of that. But anyway, still doing very well.
He's in the World Cup and we're not, so
absolutely, yeah.
I think on these flips, it looks to me like the unicorn got the better flip. However, having played the assassinate, the only assassinate in his deck, Demagogue can now play cards like Add Up to the Waves and get repeat value.
Yeah. Oh, there's the Border Rider. So that's going to eat an assassinate without a reprieve, I would imagine. We know it's in his hand. We know it's in Demagogue's hand.
Yeah, we know he needs 2 reprieves to protect the Border Rider.
Yeah.
So if you're pudduk here, you're praying for a charge on your bid, right? You need that charge.
Okay, so forget about reprieve this turn.
Oh, he's got let go, right? Yeah, he's got the other let go. Huh.
He's got a let go and a mystic on the table.
And a mystic.
Forget about.
Okay. So yeah, that's
Border Rider's eating some dirt pretty soon.
And it's the only. It was a pass too. So what do you guys think? Like a Master of the Swift Waves instead of the Border Rider purchase?
That he gets against the waves. So
yeah.
much of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think the strategy here that Pudduk's taking is that he's realized, looking at what he's got in his dynasty there and the fact that he had a really good turn last turn, I think he's realized he's probably going to eat it this turn, and he's going to try and he's not trying to close the game this turn. He's just trying to stem the flow of Demo, who's going to kind of have the tempo this turn. Pudduk had it last turn. Demo's got it this turn, and then try and set up for a bunch of fate next turn. Buy some big characters, get out there.
Yeah,
I think it's a very, very important concept in L5R to acknowledge when you're going to be behind in the turn and try and damage control and bank fate so that you can swing back. I think a lot of players that are beginners or intermediate players sometimes try and they're overcommitting in a turn that it's. So I think this is one of those turns, like you said, Ben.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. The mono no RA factor here of the game, where it's really Demagogue's going to lose 4 fate effective at the end of the turn versus sort of 1. kind of equalizes things. The Cav reserves is a bit awkward for pudduk right now. I mean, you can get the regulars, which isn't bad, but he has no one cost, or I guess he's got the Shahai and the Scout or something, but it's not kind of a maximal one if he has that in hand.
Are we expecting a watering here to, if he does Cav reserves and try and favorable out, he can bow it? No, he just goes the.
We see a military fire. I think because he can get if he gets his other any of his Adepta waves honored, right? They become pretty beat stickish at 4/4 for 2.
Yeah. I think as Bert says as well, like they're going to be around for a few turns. Like the one with 2 fate on it is definitely the way to go there.
Yeah, I think they'd definitely be strong. We know there's Storm in hand too, right? That no, it was used.
Storm in discard, so he can still
discard, so he can +4. Just seems. Oh, Finger of Jade comes down, so he's gonna try to beat those Reprieves maybe, or beat those let goes.
This seems like an economic war that you cannot win when you know he's got a let go and a Mystic.
Mystic, yeah.
But I mean, I guess
Mystic hurts the Storm and this attack, but yeah, it seems like you're just gonna fall behind on this one.
You can play the Storm first, right?
Yep. Yep.
I mean, I think you probably still do play the thing.
Demo just passes, so he's just not going to take the province, and the ring won't resolve. That's very interesting.
Oh, Cloud's the border ride.
Okay, so that
is just next level play. It's like you want to invest fate. All right, I'll just play my Cloud, end your turn, and then I'll save my let go for a more important attachment, like a reprieve on a charge target later or something.
Yeah, exactly, and hold the assassination over your head for the rest of the game. That was interesting. You attacked the Pilgrimage, which is a slight difference from the standard Shameless display. Pilgrimage still being very good and good for Shiatomi encampments to sit on, but
yeah. I do like Pilgrimage in faster decks when you're disinclined to defend. Like you don't want to defend with your big guys, and in those sorts of decks, I do like Pilgrimage. So I'm okay with the Pilgrimage experiment in Unicorn. I think it's worth trying out.
I think it's definitely great. So a Sneak comes down, takes one of 2 Demagogue's fate, and enables conflict here, which is important for the Unicorn. I mean, even if you can just force a defense, it's certainly of higher value for Demagogues. His characters are of higher value than the Sneak. Plus, he has a favorable ground if he's able to force a defense, to just pull back out. Although it's just a political remaining, so a Sneak sitting at home is not particularly valuable.
Yeah. I think I would have liked Water here to deny the covert and potentially ready a Border Rider if you've got the goods.
Yeah.
It just depends on what's in hand.
I mean, you do have the favorable ground and you have no characters, so the covert a little less strong, but
That's fair.
Oh, sorry, I should be keeping up on chat here.
So we see Manicured Garden. It's going to net Demagogue another 2 fate here.
Yeah, the power of the Seekers, for sure.
Yeah.
So that pays for a display if he just wants to let this one through. But he is going to defend, which I think is the correct decision, given you've only got 2 or 1 more province to break before he's on Stronghold.
Double defense. Interesting. I mean, there's 3 Bonsais and there's Cav reserves. Okay, he could be worried about the Cav reserve. That's why the double defense. Or no, okay, he's considering.
I like this because he's got a Supernatural Storm in the bin. It's likely, or at least plausible, that he has another one in hand, which would mean like +8/+8, and there's no Assassinate. So I think you can be conservative on your defense with just the one guy. I think it's smart.
Yeah. Because maximum strength for Cav reserves, I guess, would be the regulars. 6, 7. Yeah, that's.
I think one of the things about this game that we've seen so far, players have been so very careful with the way that they deploy their resources. They're all trying to make sure that they're as conservative as possible, and the counterplay is just so interesting. Like just seeing them like withholding their cards and trying to do as as small free cards, just small moves as possible. Use what's on the board before they commit anything. And if they need to lose a conflict, they'll just lose a conflict.
Yeah. So we see a charge of the regulars. Cav reserves, pulling the regulars out of the so much more expensive charge. And then Supernatural Storm answering.
So they're deadlocked here, and that is a very expensive cavalry reserves, given you have one in your row. And we see a Bonsai, so that's Bonsai number 2 down.
especially if you don't win. If you win, you can recoup some of the cost. But if you
That's
don't
true.
win, it's quite bad. If he could
I
somehow
think that
get this high enough so he could pull back the sneak and then sack the regulars to his box for an extra military conflict, I think that would be good for him. But we'll see if he's able to get the +5. I think that would be quite hard.
The only thing there is that the Minamikaze regulars requires more characters in the
Oh,
conflict than
right,
you.
you're right. Sorry. Yeah, the whole stronghold text to read the card thing. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's been disabled.
Okay, so this is smart. He's spending one fate to get him out of breaking range and out of stronghold plus Minamikaze trigger range.
Yeah,
and he gets to draw cards. So this is really smart.
And he gets
Yes,
the against the waves. Well, let go and find katana. Hit the bin.
So it's not the best try maiden pull we've ever seen.
Okay, so that's quite interesting. Favorable ground to move Border Rider in so that the Miami Kazi regulars is now online.
Oh,
Oh, we see another storm. Oh my god. This is huge skills being put up by the Phoenix and the Unicorn.
yeah, 11, 12. Yeah, well, it's a third province. I guess people start to get pretty serious about those, but
Yeah, that's true.
This is a backbreaking defense. If Demagogue can withstand this, it's going to be really, really tough.
yeah, he'll be up on fate, up on board, and up on cards. One of those. Not.
And I think Pudduk's probably got some utility cards in his hand now. So of those 6 cards, not all of them are going to be live because some of them are going to be like rebuilds or reprieves that are kind of just dead at the moment.
Yeah, and he has 18 attachments, and I think he's only played one.
Rebuild's not necessarily dead because with rebuild, you could, if he's got a rebuild in his hand and he's realized he's not going to win this conflict, he can always just favorable ground the cards. Actually, does Cav Reserves discard the characters at the end of the conflict?
No.
No. Yeah, so you could favorable ground the Miami regulars home. But
he is weighing his options. This is a dirty conflict to find yourself in. 2 storms for +8 is really, really brutal.
And let's see, what other pumps could? I think Phoenix could still have another bonsai, so he's 2 bonsais in his deck. He could assassinate. He hasn't used his assassinate, so he could assassinate the sneak. I mean, there's lots of Unicorn is able to pump. There's lots of different outs for the Phoenix player, like 3 katanas or 2 left, I guess.
And the hard thing for Pudduk is like, do you want to throw, good money in after bad?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Like, it's because there is it is, very tempo oriented. And if you do manage to win this conflict, you get to draw a card, get a fate, you recharge, and you kind of, you're really going to push forward.
Oh, and he does pass.
He must not have a rebuild either.
So spending a 3 fate event that's sort of one of your ace in the hole events that you need to use late game on a lost conflict is a really, really bad result. And I know I've done it before. You've done it before, Simcoff, where you spend an inordinate amount of your resources at your disposal and you don't get the job done. That is a sickening feeling in a game of L5R.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that the whole Scorpion game plan, is to get people to...
That's it, yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Okay, so he's
seeing pilgrimage court games. So we've got So
he could have a fan or a kimono to win this. He's got the fan.
Oh,
he's got the fan. So I think we're going to see this pilgrimage go down unless there's a return court games.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the other assassination, so I think that's what the.
He's not actually running court games.
No court games.
No court games.
Wow, how did I miss that? I guess I'm so used to seeing I have like court game blindness. You just expect it to be there. Wow.
Well,
no keepers, no court games. Well, definitely experimental.
That's very interesting to me. I know that some players, some Unicorn players like Frotop, have been playing 2 court games in Unicorn because it is a lower value card in that deck than others.
But they have those ridiculous glory values for some reason. Some of them, I guess, you don't play those characters.
Yeah, some of them do.
Yeah,
especially the core set ones had a lot of glory.
Yeah. How many regulars is 2 glory?
Wasn't Yumino like a champion level glory, like 3 or something like that?
3, yeah.
Yeah.
So glorious on that horse. Hair
So
flowing.
Demagogue, with the open deck list format, has identified that there's no counter court games, and this is an absolutely brutal conflict.
Yeah, I think as pudduk, you just concede the province. Don't commit any extra cards.
And then you have to stare down a 4/6 covert on water character next turn. That's,
He's tapped out on fate as well. It's horrible. I think you have to get rid of that Swift Waves. That Master of Swift Waves is dead against Phoenix.
mm-hmm.
With the fact that they're against the waves to counter your Swift ones.
Yeah. And I mean, he's halfway through his deck and only used one cloud so far on the Phoenix sides. Oh, two clouds. Okay, two clouds are gone. That's at least a hope.
That's
so
important.
Unicorn can get one of its sort of power characters. And
yeah.
So just to remind myself and the people watching, this is a World Cup play-in round, right? And I believe this is the rubber match. So
the winner no, it's the second, at least according to the spreadsheet.
Right. Okay.
So the first one was won by Sly Knight Greece yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Crane beat Lion.
Shock horror there.
I guess that one too. It was a good game. It wasn't a rollover.
Yeah, Crane Lion is usually actually quite good.
Yeah.
Memes aside.
So this is for pudduk. This is sudden elimination. It's like death bracket because if Dema wins this, Greece advance.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is just a much better flop for the Phoenix player. We see the other two copies of Master.
Oh, that's
and
a nightmare.
We know he's got an Against the Waves in hand because of the Shrine Maiden pool.
Yeah.
So staring down that board, this is definitely going to be a tough turn.
Oh, absolutely. I think. I mean, I think he has to take the water, right? Like Crane just has to. A Unicorn just has to throw away an attack on water.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I get a fate for it, and you possibly could bow one of his characters, so it's not terrible, but
you send a sneak into water.
Yeah, it's always awful when you give the Prodigy of Waves his ability, but he's going to get it anyway. There's really nothing you can do to stop that.
The problem is you don't. If you've got your last charge or whatever, you're not sending in Master of the Swift Waves. I think the best that pudduk can hope for is that he draws his second Cav reserves, and even that's not. It's not very fate efficient, but it might do something.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't have all those for Battle Maiden recruits to get thrown out for free, and triple Border Rider, those kind of turns with the Cav reserves.
So I didn't have a chance to look at these lists, but I imagine it's Rally under the Stronghold for the Unicorn because he's got the up.
It is. Yep.
So he's going to hit Border Fortress as the other province. So almost certainly Demagogue is going to elect to go for that Border Fortress.
And Demagogue has Korimori as its province, so probably under the Stronghold as well. So we see 5/5 bid. I mean, Honor's not in any kind of issue. Skirmishers dropped and given Covert. He is going Fire as his first conflict. Obviously, trying to take some of the bite out of that Prodigy of the Waves, I would imagine. All in.
I guess I don't mind that because if you're sending all of your characters, then the value of the water, the Phoenix, is reduced. I mean, you can still play your Ferals, but there's a Feral in the bin. But the covert that the Adept of the Waves provides doesn't mean anything.
I think this is a bit of a Hail Mary play because you're identifying that you're going to at least get the Phoenix player is going to get one break on me anyway.
Yeah.
So I might as well try and race and at least keep my head above water and be on his box as well and threaten that.
Yeah.
But like you said, Kurimori is very, very hard for HMT decks to get through.
Extremely. Plus he has, we know he has stands in his hand, and plus the Prodigy Wave is going to stand as well. So 2 breaks, certainly not out of the question on Phoenix side. But
this is a terrifying turn.
You do what you can, I guess. You give yourself an out, even if it looks bad. It's definitely
So just dishonoring the Prodigy would probably be the ideal type.
Yeah, agreed. You take 4 skill off the board, 2 and 2 conflicts. Oh yeah, and chat raises a really good possibility that there could be some Unleash the Djinn plus conflict characters madness on the Stronghold. I mean, it happens, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess Unleash the Djinn is the magic card for the Stronghold.
I mean, he could do the old Cav reserves of every cheap thing he has. which isn't even that
Yeah.
much. He just had a the dynasty flop's been pretty awkward, and then unleash the
Well, I
Jin.
mean, yeah, because you've got like your battle maidens and stuff. Yeah, so yeah, I think it won't be this
Oh, he
turn.
can sack the Battle Maiden for the conflict. That's right. He could get that in. Yep. But Defender is defending this strong, so I don't think. I mean, he'd have to
I
use.
like this from Demagogue. I think you can play the more aggressive game and just go for the breaks, but defending is conservative, and if you defend this, you pretty much won the game.
Yeah.
I think so.
So we see the
It's
Cav
six
reserves come down, and he goes for the Tetsuko and Border Rider to come out.
I mean, this is going to get very expensive here to try and break. Given that he does have still a Supernatural Storm in bin, that's another 3 skill.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's currently only attacking 8 to Defender 7.
And if you play the Jin here, it means that you're just out of gas for that final conflict.
I mean, you can, yeah. And if you've got that many characters in play and they've all got no fade on them, you kind of like have to try and win this conflict, I think, because your board just disappears. It seems a real shame to.
And Demagogue's still sitting on 1 let go in his hand, I believe, so trying to pass around Invocation of Ash or anything like that.
There goes the Jin.
Okay. Do you know what? Given this situation, you just got to do it. Like, it sucks.
Agreed.
It sucks, but you've got that many characters in play. You've got to make hay. You can't afford, like, this conflict just has to work, especially because Dema's committed 2 characters to it. And the ability to dishonor that Prodigy of the Waves means that it's much harder. Like, Dema's actually going to have to play resources to take the province, so the chance of him taking 2 provinces and breaking is reduced.
Well, it's kind of opened up another avenue too, where he could go air and fire. And if he, fire's already gone. Okay, so he can't dishonor him out this turn.
So I think you almost certainly go water if you're a Demagogue here.
Yeah, stand up that monster, Adept of the Waves, and you can covert the Border Rider.
Turn on Prodigy.
There's 8 conflict characters so there's still 2 more skirmishers, another goblin, and all 3 wayfinders have not been played. So.
Okay, so he needs one of those 1-cost ones because as it stands, he's only going to play it. I expect that Demagogue will play this Supernatural Storm or some sort of pump to threaten the break here.
So this will be Border Fortress that he'll be flipping here.
Yeah. Just trying to figure out which ring he wants to take. I assume he's going to take air here just to get a little bit. Oh, no, he's got 6 fade.
Yeah. Oh, well, water also has a fade on it. So I think Torido's right. The water was a fairly strong choice there.
Yep, agreed. All right, Border Fortress.
Okay, so he's going mill. So I guess it doesn't have a court games or doesn't want to use it right now.
Yeah, the thing about this is that Border Fortress, which usually you can use rally to switch the conflict around, I think if you can possibly defend this conflict, and I have no idea how, what it means is that when pudduk attacks the Kuromore, he can use Border Fortress to flip. Once Kuromore flips the political conflict or the military conflict to political, you can use Border Fortress to flip your own route.
Yeah.
Flip it back.
Wow. Okay. That's
Yeah.
impressive. I would have not thought that deeply into Border Fortress Kuromore interactions.
Yeah, but I think that's good. But the problem is being able to province is very difficult. Like the Supernatural Storm is just, it's untenably strong at the moment. Like given what Unicorn has 1 fate and 8 cards, most of which can't deal with this. There is a bit of a strange option. So he's on 1 skill, right? Or is this 2? Is it a military conflict? Oh, it's a military conflict.
Yeah, on average, because of just his deck construction, he's going to have like his hand is probably 2/3 attachments, I would guess, at this point.
Yeah.
Because he has 17 left out of 25 cards in hand, or 29 cards in hand and deck.
I mean, the thing is, do you play? I mean, if you play a Talisman, it immediately gets let go.
Right.
Like Talisman would be the key card. Actually, Talisman not yet, but it'd be the key card on the rally. But,
Absolutely, yeah.
I think the way this game has played out has kind of, I think it all harkens back to that turn one buying pattern from the unicorn. Because like you said, you do have so many attachments. You really want them to stick around, and the only way to do that, one big guy who costs more than two, and load him up. Really, it's the best way to do it. And so the Tetsugo with one fate maybe showing its costs late game here, when you know your opponent has a let go, and you've got this hand of dead cards.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah, I mean, if you could stick that talisman even here, not in the final attack, I mean, you could send this to Feast or Famine and take out a Prodigy of the Waves. So the let go is certainly a huge factor in this game.
Yeah, and he's only got one fate, so he can only play one talisman if he's got two in his hand. So, yeah, that fate's just hurting.
And we know that Demagogue still has his Assassinate, so he's going to need more. He's going to need at least one conflict character to be able to make a second conflict, because he can just kill the Border Rider. I think from the Phoenix perspective, all he needs to do is survive this turn, and hopefully flip up Rally, and then next turn he's first player, and he's going to have a huge board lead. So the game plan to winning is quite clear, and the Unicorn game plan to winning is mercurial to me. So
Absolutely.
Yeah,
He can go Covert Water on the Stronghold, and then he'll probably have the Nino back, I would guess. He only 15 cards in deck.
I think the fact that Pudduk's taking this long means there's probably no line of play for him. He's just desperately trying to like stare into the, pray to the fortunes. Hopefully they bless him, find something.
I'll just
It's looking pretty good for the Greeks at the moment.
I'm just going to check and see. Sometimes, I mean, very occasionally it freezes, so I'll make sure my browser hasn't frozen.
Mine's the same. I'm sure it's fine.
Oh, well, actually, my comment did not come up that I just typed.
Oh, no.
So let's reload this page. Oh, everyone's disconnected. Everyone's disconnecting now. Oh, I'm just seeing some text. Huh. So Simcock got disconnected, and then we see an assassination to get rid of the Border Rider before the end of the conflict. Border Fortress still breaking. Simcoff is back. Yay.
Okay. Back in. Exciting. So, stuff has happened.
The assassination got played, which is pretty smart.
That's, I think the assassination, that's, hope is gone. Poor Pudduk. Oh, God, that's the nail in the coffin, that one.
So Rally to the Cause switches the type of the conflict, which actually means it's not breaking now, because political. But we know there's storms available. Oh, fan drops down, nice and straightforward.
Unlimited pumps in Demo's hand.
The Maya Mystic, which is bowed, is used to get rid of the fan.
Maybe a slight misplay there. I guess you just play the fan anyway, right? Like,
yeah, I
he's
think
gonna do something.
Either lose it or you lose the fan on your Adept of the Waves. I mean, there was a target for it, so. Oh, no break. Wow.
What do you think about the decision to not use the Supernatural Storm there?
That's a crazy decision. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think Demagogue's a much better player than me, is my first thought, but it does seem like you want that break. I mean,
I guess he's just fearing. He just wants to, at all costs. He's like, Demagogue's got strong board. He's still got a Prodigy he can untap.
Yeah.
He's got the Waves of the Fate. So all he's thinking about at the moment is, what are the ways that I can lose this match? Because he already knows how he's going to win, but how can I lose? And the way that he can lose is by somehow losing the conflict at his box. And so I think he's maintaining that Supernatural Storm to defend, because he's pretty confident that.
Oh my God!
Gets the Waves, the Itchy Wayfinder. I guess interesting.
That is brutal. That is brutal.
Okay, now he gets the break second time through. Yeah.
That's all the answers. And also, thing to note, right? So Demagogue's got a conflict left, and he's also going to be first player next turn. So he's still essentially now got, especially that against the Waves, the Wayfinder, he's still got two conflicts before Pudduk gets his next one.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think patience is definitely going to be rewarded here. I mean, just take away all your risks. I think you guys are totally right. Especially since you know the Unleash the Djinn has been played, which is kind of
Yeah.
that X factor card of like that can come out of nowhere and just crush you, right? So I think both cavalry reserves have been played. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. So two cavalry reserves have been played and Unleash the Djinn. So the big power cards to attack your stronghold are really those two charges.
Really? Oh, it was yeah. He had to rebuild the favorable ground because otherwise he was going to lose via dishonor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a rebuild into a favorable ground because Pudduk was on 2 honor and Demo was threatening the air there. So
It's definitely like when you construct this deck, it's not how you envision yourself having to use rebuild.
No.
Like you view it as this very powerful thing to get a Shiatome encampment or something
just
back.
like
Absolutely, yeah.
But that's not how you want to use it, but sometimes that's how you need to use it.
Yeah, Unicorn, they've been, because they've had the Chargers and the Cab Reserves, but they haven't had the encampments to really sort of abuse those cards. And in fact, being at 1 honor and having 3 yurts in your deck is a little galling too. You're like, where are my yurts to save me? Oh, there they are. There's nothing to buy. Flops have been a
I think you're
little
almost
lopsided.
certainly yerk the dynasty phase here to try and get another dude to buy.
Yeah, exactly,
dude.
yeah.
Die and draw phase.
And you still might be able to pass first because good old sneaky Shinjo.
Yeah.
So we see Atsuku bot, really strong for Final Conflict for sure.
I'm glad to see the one fate. I think it's a nice little hedge. Like 2 fates too much because this is likely the final turn, but one is a nice little hedge just in case.
Nagura is a good pickup.
Buys a Mystic just to keep those unicorn attachments further suppressed. And
yeah, the big problem I'm seeing here is the covert on the first conflict. Like you mentioned last turn, Ruben, it's getting very, very tough to defend.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So the Yurt gives him a Nagui, which if he doesn't get clouded is actually can be quite a strong defensive character, but there's a cloud left, 16 cards.
Yeah. Mystic, I think early in L5 history was valued greatly, but I think that it's found its place now, and many decks are running 3 copies of Mystic, and we can see like obviously in Demo's deck, it not only powers Supernatural Storm, but it just puts so much pressure on Pudduk because so much of his hand are these attachments and they cost fate.
Okay, and we see a Kaide bot with 0 fate, so obviously signals. Definitely Demagogue thinks it's the last round of the game.
So am I right in saying that Kaede and Atsuko are 1-odds in Demo's deck? Because they have a nice synergy, right? She adds Void to the ring, and Atsuko can use her effect. So he can actually go political and still use Atsuko's text.
Katie's 2-of.
There are 2-ofs, both of them. You got to live the dream of finding the dupe when you need it. You can't give that up. It's my favorite part of the game, of flipping the dupe when I have 0 fate on my character.
Yeah.
That's a very, very strong interaction. So you can get covert and get the +1 to all of his characters, and -1/-1 to all of his opponent's characters.
Wow, that's super strong.
It doesn't matter what ring you choose.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough with Phoenix because
political turns off no GUI. Yeah, this is absolutely brutal. He's accumulated this board advantage here, and it's going to be very, very hard.
There's Storm in the bin as well, so there's like
yeah, so 21 with the Storm.
21 with the Storm, so just on board.
Well, and Atsuko adds an effective 31. So okay, or not 31, effective like 27, 28, depending on how many defenders.
So you could have 3 copies of Talisman and save him.
That would be. Well, everything has 1 fate now. The feast would be like a sad feast. Yeah. I mean, Phoenix.
I respect Pudduk for not just GGing. He's like playing through the He's going to keep trying until the bitter end. Yeah, the Talisman plan is very weak now.
You need because he's got a let go in hand at least and a Mystic on board.
Does he? Oh, he's only got 1 assassinate, so he can't assassinate Mystic.
He's only got two Talismans as well. So.
Only 2 Talismans in his deck, so.
He can cloud the Mystic.
Oh yeah, so you play the Wayfinder, then the talisman, then the cloud, but then he still missed. He
Oh,
still
missing
let
the
go.
fate.
As he needs one more fate.
He's not more fate. He's only got 3 fate.
Oh, he's rebuilding over a Shiotoma encampment. You don't see that every day.
That's the only
To bring in
legal
favorable
problem.
ground, yeah.
Yeah,
Demagogue does
so-
honors the Kaide, so
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Whoa, this is going to be at the end of this conflict. Still total is going to be astronomical.
Oh god, 19-1.
yeah. I mean, this could potentially be, I think, the highest political I might have ever seen for Attack on a Stronghold. Watching games,
Because the
like if
problem
you
is,
unloaded everything.
yeah, the thing is, right? Like you can favorable grounds in Naguri. Naguri sends Katie home, but then
Well, his
like,
text is blank in political conflicts.
oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's only military.
Okay, all right. Well, captive audience, right?
Oh,
the
yeah,
captain.
captive audience. Yeah.
Captive audience can then send Katie home, but like,
Oh, the Nino.
isn't this amazing? He's got it's water and void, and he's getting these crazy free
Synergy.
feral for water. The synergy is disgusting.
I haven't seen this sort of thing since Pack 1 of Imperial Cycle when Kato came out.
Oh, double 4/3 Ninos. On this.
We see the Invocation of Ash. This is just to bait out his attachment hate.
Which
'Cause
won't.
Talisman is the only card that can save him, really.
Yeah, the problem is these Invocation of Ashes don't bait anything because like he's still breaking.
Still up by 16.
Yeah.
He's still hot, man. This is just some top level play. You're breaking by like 20 skill, and you pass with Etsuko and a Supernatural
Yeah.
Storm in the bin.
You still might need those abilities.
Yep.
GG.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Pudduk's talking about those Masters
Yeah.
of the Waves. Genja Flop killed him. It did that hurt like that. And Demo played this like a champion though. Like holding, I think one of the key conflicts there was that pilgrimage conflict that Demo decided to, when he didn't have the skill, he decided to pass and go, you know what, I'm not going to break this, but I can cloud the border rider, and I've just shut out Pudduk from the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he played this game masterfully. Pudduk played really, really well, had a very strong. I think the buying Tetsuku was a curious decision. The tempo was the thing, but like at the end of the day, amazing game to spectate and watch. But I think Demo very much deserves it, and the Greeks are going to go on to the top 8. So well done.
I think that this is a great game if you're wanting to watch some top level play, because there are some really interesting resource management lessons to be learned here. Like you were saying, like withholding your maximal cards and spending minimal cards and learning when to give things up. It's super important, and I think it was a flawless performance from the Greek, and a very well played game from both players. Really fun to watch.
Yes, just great players.
Totally fun to commentate as well. Thank you guys. It was a great
No
game
worries.
all around. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks for having us. That was awesome.
Well,
Talk to you
good
soon,
luck.
man.
Good luck in Roseville, you guys. We'll be watching for you on stream, and lots more World Cup games to come.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Bye.
All right.